And good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us here for our coverage of the 91st Annual Chincoteague Pony Swim. I'm Steve Hammond.
And I'm Lisa Bryant. Whether you're watching us on Facebook Live or on WBOC Classics, we are so happy to have you with us. And we are covering this event from land, air, and sea this morning.
All right, WBOC's Maxine Bensel joins us live from the pony's final destination on the east side of Chincoteague Island. Bill Mitch, as you can see, is live in Chopper 16 over the Aztec Channel where the swim will take place. And we have Maxine Bensel with us as well. And we'll check in with Lauren Holloway, who's on a boat in the channel. She'll be joining us as well. So we've got a lot coming your way. The swim scheduled to take place in the next 35 minutes or so.
Yeah. But first, let's go to the Bill and our eye in the sky.
Hey guys, good morning. So obviously we've been talking about this for a couple of days now, this Chopper 16 being the best seat in the house. So I don't want to stay on me anymore. Let's go right to Chopper 16. Let's take the view down from the camera just to give you a sense of what we're looking at. So obviously got a little bit of a wide shot right now, and really it is the best view of this pony swim that we could have. We're zooming in a little bit. It looks like Phil, our photographer in the back, we're zooming in on Memorial Park, and these are the amount of people already that have shown up to get their view of the pony swim. That's obviously, as you said just a moment ago, is going to take place in about 35 minutes. Memorial Park is absolutely packed right now. So Phil, if you don't mind, if we could zoom out just a little bit wider, let's come real wide so we can see the channel. And as you come back out, a little wider for us there, Phil. We can see that's where the channel is, and if we go back over to the left a little bit, we can see the boat sitting there in the water, and the dock up on the upper left-hand side of your screen, that's where the ponies will be swimming to. And obviously you can see on the other side all those boats lined up as well. So the channel is sitting there. You can see that the path that these ponies are going to take through the channel. Obviously, when the ponies start swimming, we'll kind of try to get ahead of the ponies. They'll be swimming towards us, and with this camera we have on the camera that we have on Chopper 16, it's going to be an unbelievable view. So we're looking forward to it very much. We'll send it back down to you guys, and we'll talk a little bit more specifics about some things that we see in the next couple minutes. Guys?
Definitely a beautiful shot Bill has there from the chopper. But another member of our team has been waiting on the dock for hours for these ponies.
Right, let's check in with WBOC's Maxine Bensel joining us from Chincoteague this morning. And Maxine, I'm sure you're excited. You're not the only one there. You got plenty of people.
Oh my gosh, Steve, very excited. I've been out here since 4 o'clock, and people have been out here since 4 o'clock too. Taylor is going to take the camera over here. You can see the people trekking through this dirt and this mud here through the marsh to get over and get a good view of the ponies. You can also see a few horses in there with some guys on them for crowd control, and then of course the giant crowd of people waiting for the ponies, waving at you. Joining me now is Sam Richardson. He is a member of the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department. Sam, how's the water looking right now? We're expecting it to happen at 10:15, but of course that depends on slack tide.
That's right. The water's looking good. They're actually going to drop the dye in the water to see how bad the current is actually flowing, and then they will sound. I don't know if they'll shoot or if they'll sound the siren, but then that's when they'll put the ponies in the water.
Okay, and it's 150 ponies, right?
They start with 150. Our permit is for 150, but with the mothers that have young colts, we'll actually trailer them from Chincoteague to our facility at the carnival ground, and then swim the ones that are of age and the remainder of the herds.
Is it difficult to get all of them in the water because they don't swim too much?
Yeah, they'll give them a little. They got to course them a little bit, yeah, and maybe a little crack of the whip. But some have been doing it for so long, they're just used to it.
Okay. Well, we're going to check back in with Sam here in a few minutes. Of course, they really want to keep the ponies safe, so that's why they wait until slack tide when there's no current. There also will be some boats out there to keep them in one area so they don't get tangled in any of the anchor lines from these boats. If we can pan over here, they're all waiting as well, and they've been out there for a few hours too. A lot of people on kayaks. We saw some people on paddle boards and on the boat. They're going to get a great view once the ponies start to swim at around 10:15 is when we're expecting them. So we'll check back in with you guys in a little. Steve?
All right, Maxine, thanks very much. You can see the tens of thousands of people out there. Slack tide, right between high tide and low tide when there's no current. That's in about a half hour. So as we roll on here with our historic coverage, this is the first time WBOC has done this, a streaming event, as if it's, you know, a newscast, so to speak. And this is a historic first for WBOC and for everybody who's joining us as I watch here via Facebook. We thank you very much for joining us, and also on our station WBOC Classics.
And if you have questions or comments or anything that you would like to add, this is interactive, so we want you, if you're on Facebook, to go ahead and ask us some questions, and we will try to address those questions as we do this historic broadcast. We
mentioned earlier that multimedia journalist Lauren Holloway is in a boat with some guests this morning. She filed this report just a little while ago.
All right, so we're here at the Pony Swim. I am on the boat, one of the best seats in the house. We're in the middle right here. I actually have Ro Terry with me, who's with the Volunteer Fire Department. Thanks for having us on your boat today.
No problem, Lauren. First thing, can't believe you guys are here, and thank you very much for all the coverage you've given us.
Yeah, of course. So tell me, the ponies are going to swim shortly. What can we expect to see, and what can our viewers expect to see today?
Right now, we're waiting for the saltwater cowboys to bring the ponies across. They're being held about a mile from here. They've surrounded them on the marsh. We're waiting for the tide to slack off. Waiting for all the crowd to get here, but as soon as the buoy cans go straight up and the tide slacks off, we'll be swimming them from the Chincoteague shoreline. It's about a 9 to 11 minute swim. They'll hit just over my right shoulder and where all the people are standing. And hopefully everything goes off good today.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we're told, what time are we saying the ponies should be swimming today?
We're hoping they'll be in the water from anywhere from 10:15 to 10:30.
All right, you heard it here. One of the best seats in the house out on the boat here. There's lots of boats out here ready for all the action. We'll keep you updated. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks very much, Lauren Holloway, who filed that report a few minutes ago. Now she joins us on the phone from out there on the channel with one of the auctioneers.
Yeah, we're actually going to speak to an auctioneer here. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Lisa and Steve. We're out here on the boat, and I do have the auctioneer with me. This is Tim Jennings. He's joining us all the way from West Virginia. Team, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure. This is our 17th year here, and it's one of our favorite places, and it's my favorite auction.
Now, tell me what sets this auction apart from the other ones you're involved with.
I think the history is the biggest thing. And it's exploded, obviously, with Marguerite Henry Mosinitsky and Stormy. It's the emotion of it, of all the thousands of auctions I've done in the last 40 years. This is the most unjaded, most emotional. It's the marketing form in its purest sense.
Now, do you have a favorite memory of this auction from the years past?
Oh, there are a lot. It's the willingness of people to help kids that don't quite have enough money to afford to pitch in money. It's one of the great things a few years ago here. We had a vicious thunderstorm of the ponies are in the water. That was exciting. And it's a thrill every year. Great thing to one of the great feels of this place is so family friendly. It's kind of a small town feel.
Of course. Now, tell me about the event tomorrow. Where will it be and what time?
At the Carnival Grounds in Arena. Event in the morning. Yeah, the team locally here.
All right, obviously we're having some problems with some cell service down there in Chincoteague. Tim Jennings is a auctioneer who you just heard. Our live streaming and broadcast coverage of the 91st annual Chincoteague Pony Swim is brought to you by your friends at the Preston Automotive Group. Now let's take a look at some of the comments we have on Facebook. I think we're still getting those together right now.
We are. They're starting to come in. Some technical issues behind the scenes, but let's continue on here. I want to go to a camera from Chopper 16. Tim Jennings mentioned the history.
Yes.
This is the 91st annual Pony Swim. People have been talking for a long time, wondering how did these ponies end up here, way back when. And there are no definitive facts with this, but the theory that gets the most credence, it gets the most believability, is that in 1750 there was a Spanish galleon that sunk off the coast of Chincoteague Island, and it was carrying wild ponies. And way back when, those ponies made it ashore, and that's how the herd started you know, again, that's not fact, but that's what they believe. And if you look at a shipwreck map, there are so many shipwrecks up and down Chincoteague, and so it's the one that most people think is closest to fact. But it's a pretty interesting story. Since 1750, these ponies have endured. And you know, it's a tough existence for them.
And it's interesting because the ponies that are on the Virginia side of Chincoteague Island are actually cared for by veterinarians, by the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company. They are you know, they check them out because they are going to use them for the auction and eventually become, I guess, for all intents and purposes, pets. But on the Chincoteague side, on the Maryland side, they're on their own. They fend for themselves. They don't give them food and water. They live on the land. They are truly wild.
I'd like to call an audible to the folks in Chopper 16. Can you guys push in on your shot, please? Let's see some of these ponies that we're talking about that are going to be making the swim. We've got a good perspective there of all the boats that are lined up, and there's the channel that they're going to swim across. But it'd be nice to be able to see some of these ponies that are going to be making the swim. It's interesting if you've seen these ponies close up. Not too close, obviously, but as I said before, it's a tough existence for them. They eat this saltwater cord grass, basically, and from what I've been able to learn is that they eat pretty much all day just to get enough nutrients. And they have these bloated bellies, and you know why their bellies are so bloated? Because they drink twice as much water as the average horse, just to, you know, because of all the salt.
All the salt, yes. Okay, so we're going to head on back down to Chincoteague right now, where Maxine Bensel is standing by live. She is at the dock there and has been there for a while. Maxine?
Lisa, I've been here since 4 o'clock this morning, and it's getting to be very hot and very buggy, of course. So I brought my sunscreen and my bug spray, and I've been applying it all morning. We showed you earlier, and we can pan over here again, all these people that are trekking through here, and there's a lot of people here. So we're going to speak now over here with Bill Rush. He's an emergency medical services coordinator. You're seeing a lot of heat exhaustion, a lot of cut feet. Tell me about that.
Today, people are coming out here, obviously, to see the pony swim, the 91st pony swim. They are coming out. Some of them are prepared, some are not. And what we would like people to do is be prepared. Bring plenty of water, sunscreen, bug spray like you've done for yourself, because it is hot out here today. There's very little wind, so that will dehydrate you very fast. Also, people are in the mud. If you look around, there's a lot of mud here, and in the mud we find shells, old scrap pieces of wood, nails, and people are stepping on those because they don't have the proper footwear. So if you're coming out to the marsh area, please have on some water shoes, even some old tennis shoes. Will work much better. You can tie them on, they won't slip off your feet in the mud, and you will be protected. Because again, we've seen quite a few cases of stitches being needed today because of the shells in the mud.
And the heat exhaustion, because it's a hike to get from the end of Pony Swim Lane the whole way out here.
It's a very, very large hike, and you must come through the mud. We're standing on a dock, obviously, but this is for emergency personnel and a few of the other permitted people. But the mud, walking through the mud alone is very strenuous. So yes, you need to stay hydrated.
And Bo, you guys are prepared. You've got, you know, everything we can pan over here that you could need here. You got ice packs. You have a little water sprayer down here, and I've seen a couple people need to use that so far today.
We've had quite a few incidents so far out here today. Thankfully, no one has needed to be transported from the scene, but we have had some incidents. And again, if you prepare yourself, you can endure this heat. You could be out here all day, but you need to be prepared.
Absolutely. Stay hydrated. Thank you so much, Bill. He's got a whole team of people out here keeping an eye on everybody. And of course, we're keeping an eye on the ponies, which should swim around 10:15. I don't know if you can see, but they're the whole way over there. You probably got a better view from Bill Mitch in the chopper. So we're going to go back to him and our eye in the sky now.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Maxine. So obviously, as you mentioned, we do have a pretty good view. We're flying right above the horses right now, and as we kind of look, as Phil's going to stay here, but as I'm looking out, as we heard before from Roe, we're probably about a mile away in this marshy area. As we're looking down, it's hard to be able to count from how high we up, but we've heard there's anywhere between 150 and 160 horses and foals that are going to be making this swim across the channel. And as you look at these ponies and you zoom out, you can actually see some of the saltwater cowboys on horseback around the ponies, kind of checking on them, making sure everything is good to go as we get a little bit closer to 10:15 and they finally do make their swim. So as we get closer, they'll be moving these ponies through this marshy area to their starting spot, obviously where these thousands and thousands of people will be waiting to see them make their swim across. Now, I don't know, some people know have been watching this for many years, but this is not the only pony swim that'll be happening this week. Obviously, after the ponies make their way across and they parade down to the carnival grounds and we have the auction, all the adult ponies that are not sold in the auction have to swim back across the channel. That'll happen on Friday, so those wild adult ponies will be making another swim back over to Chincoteague so they can live the next year over here in the wild. So 2 swims, which is kind of cool. They'll be pretty professional horse swimmers by the time this week is over. But as you can see, ponies just kind of hanging out now as we get closer to 10:15. So as obviously we get a little bit of movement from these guys, we'll zoom back in on them and watch them make their move. But for now, we'll send it back to you guys and kind of look for some more interesting stuff to show you.
All right, Bill, let's keep that nose camera up if we can and talk a little bit about the history of this. We talked, you know, this is the 91st annual Chincoteague Pony Swim. People coming from all over the world to witness this, and it really became popular thanks to Marguerite Henry's book, Misty of Chincoteague, published in 1947 with a series of sequels that came later. And in 1961, a movie, Misty, was made based on the book. And Marguerite Henry said that she was inspired to write the book when she traveled to Chincoteague Island to witness the annual pony roundup and swim, and she wrote the book, at least in part, while staying at Miss Molly's Inn on Chincoteague.
It really is a storybook, a story that every little girl has ever read, and a little boy too. It's just wonderful to look down there and see those ponies and think they may have a new home later on this week. And you might not know this, but you see down there the saltwater cowboys. They are the ones who round up the ponies, and they are actually volunteers. And they do it because they love it. And today they get to share that passion with tens of thousands of spectators. Now let's move on over to Lauren Holloway, our multimedia journalist, who is down there in the boat right now. And Lauren, what's going on?
All right, guys. Yeah, I am at the pony swim right now. We are on a boat. We have a front row seat. Some members of the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department were gracious enough to let us come out here. If you look to the right of me over here, you'll see all these boats lined up. There's hundreds of people out there. They're on their pontoon boats and their kayaks. There's some on some paddle boards. There's some jumping in the water as we speak to stay cool. Now, if you look a little bit further, you will see the marsh where the ponies will swim from. They're currently held behind there, and at about 10:15, they will make the plunge into the water. We are told the swim should take anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes. They're going to make their way across here and end up at the marsh on the opposite side. Lots of people on the opposite side on the marsh there. They will make their way through the fences, and then they are going to parade down the town. Now, this is an annual tradition. Everyone's really excited. The people could not stop raving about these ponies coming out any minute now. Back to you guys in the studio.
And remember, our live streaming and broadcast coverage of the 91st annual Chincoteague Pony Swim is brought to you by your friends at the Preston Automotive Group. Now, we still are broadcasting on Facebook Live, and we've been having some difficulty going in and out of that stream. And
still working on it.
Still working on it.
But we are getting comments from people from Ohio, Pennsylvania,
yep.
Virginia, and that's one of the reasons that we're doing this, so we can bring this to people all over the world who can't be here on Delmarva. And as we said, we're working on some technical issues. Let's check in with WBOC's Maxine Bensel on the dock there, where the ponies will be coming ashore. Hey, Max.
Hey, Steve, getting excited. The people are really getting excited. And as you mentioned, they really come from all over. I've met people really from all over, from Alabama, Florida, Georgia, everywhere today, who are excited for this event. So joining me now are Jean and Michaela Hall. They came from Maryland, so not as far, but you guys have been out here since when this morning?
About 8:30.
About 8:30. And where did you come from? I mean, tell me about this trek you had to make to get over here.
Well, my in-laws live in Shelbyville, so we stayed there last night, and then we got up real early this morning, about 5, and we've been out on the road and here since then.
Okay, and they had to park up the street and then go through that marshy area we showed you before. So take a look at their dirty feet and legs here. It's very muddy in there, like we just heard, and it's a little dangerous getting through there. Apparently a lot of people are getting cut, so you just have to be careful. Keep your shoes on, of course. Are you guys getting excited?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah.
It's our first time.
Your first time. What
Yep.
made you guys come down here for this?
We like horses and ponies.
Yeah.
I've always liked horses.
Are you guys going to go to the auction tomorrow?
Maybe.
We talked about it.
Okay.
Trying to convince him.
Yeah, you should. And then you should convince him to buy you a pony too, because that's every little girl's dream, right?
Yeah.
No?
Where to keep it.
Where to keep it, that's right. All right, well, we thank you guys for talking to us and enjoy the swim.
Thank you.
We do have some ponies, if we can look down over here, right here, that are waiting. They were just brought over by some cowboys, and they're waiting for the rest of the ponies to get here, and then they'll help get them all in. Look how they're a little muddy too, so it's very muddy out here this morning. Again, we're expecting the swim to happen at 10:15. We're keeping an eye on the water here, and it still seems to be moving just a little bit, so we're not quite at that slack tide. Perfect timing for the ponies to swim across, but of course we'll have that for you when it happens. Check back in with you guys soon. Lisa?
All right, yeah, so the slack tide, it's a period about 30 minutes, and it's in between the high tide and the low tide where she said the water is not moving, so they definitely need to wait for that, but they're still saying 10:15.
Right, that's the ballpark. So we're 15 minutes out. Let's go back to another picture of the ponies as they get ready to swim. Okay, we don't have it at the moment, but we'll talk a little bit about the Chincoteague pony became an official registered breed of horse in 1994. The average height is between 12 and 13 hands. Any horse that stands less than 14 hands tall is considered a pony. Hence the Chincoteague pony. Chincoteague ponies, as we know, stocky with short legs, thick manes, and as I mentioned earlier, those large round bellies because they eat so much salty grass, and because of all that salt, they drink just so much water, twice as much water as the average horse. Let's talk about the auction, which will happen on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. is when it gets underway. The purpose of the swim, of course, to move the ponies from Chincoteague Island to Chincoteague Island so the foals can be auctioned. The auction really serving two purposes. First, to help control the overall size of the herd, keeping it from growing too large. And secondly, it is a big fundraiser for the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company. This started way back in the 20s when Chincoteague's Volunteer Fire Company needed some money, and this is how they decided that they were going to do this. It started small, and as you can tell, it has grown over the years. Let's talk money for a second. Just in 2015, 61 ponies were sold. The average cost was about $2,780. The highest bid, a new record set last year, $25,000. Total sales, $169,576. That's a lot of money to help people on Chincoteague, the Volunteer Fire Company.
And two of the ponies, if I understand right, will actually be heading back to swimming back. The King Neptune?
Right.
Yes. All right. So we have Bill Mitch alive in Chopper 16 looking at the ponies now. And Bill, what do you see?
Hey guys, well, I kind of just wanted to give you maybe a little bit of a tour of where we are, maybe the route that the ponies are going to be taking. So we're taking a look at them right now. So we're going to have Phil in the back, our photographer. He's going to zoom out for us. And what we're kind of taking a look at is the path the ponies are going to take. So if we zoom in there, thank you, Phil, right in there, that's where they're going to be walking down. That area is much more shallow than the channel they're going to be swimming across in just a moment. So as Phil pans down, just slow down for me for a second there, Phil. You can see some of the charter boats that have kind of collected along that sandbar area. As we continue to move down to the right, Phil, keep panning forward.
What are you looking forward to today?
Some air conditioner after this.
It's very hot. We just felt a little bit of a breeze. Well, thank you, Sarah. We appreciate it. Again, we're expecting the ponies to swim here soon, about 10:15. Keeping an eye on the tide. Water still seems to be moving a little bit. Back to you guys.
And we're hearing that the ponies are starting to move a little bit, and we're getting ready to head to Chopper 16. That's where we find WBOC's Bill Mitch right now. Bill, are you seeing that movement? There it is.
There it is. Well, actually, so Maxine was talking. It was kind of a cool sight. I was watching, obviously taking a look at the horses moving. You see in the front, the saltwater cowboys are leading these horses. They're going to be going, I guess, through this marshy area, kind of over to the spot where they'll be obviously making their swim. But as Max, larger boats here.
All right, our apologies as we are dealing with some technical issues, a lot of cell phone issues down there because of so many cell phones, and then with Chopper 16, the signal tends to drop out a little bit there. We're back to a live picture here. Bill Mitch, you with us again?
Yeah, Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Sorry about that.
That's
It has
okay.
some connection issues, as you were mentioning, but it's a cool view. So what I was saying, we can obviously the horses moving down.
Go.
They're going through this shallow water area. They'll be making their way through. From our view from Chopper 16, obviously we can see how shallow this water is as they move down through this little marshy area down for where all those boats are. That's when it gets a little deeper, and they'll be really making that swim. But you can kind of see those saltwater cowboys getting them in formation so they can start to make that swim. But as I was saying before we lost the signal, I apologize there. It appeared one of the fire department boats in the channel, obviously a little further down from where these ponies are, in the water. And once he...
All right, we're losing you again, Bill, but we'll get it back in just a second. We have to sort of reconnect with the helicopter, and as that happens, you can see they're getting lined up. Let's check in with WBOC's Maxine Bensel.
Steve, we're hearing about 18 to 20 minutes now. As Bill just said, they're on the move, so this is good news for all the people that are out here waiting. But it isn't all just about the swim. Once they finish the swim, which only takes them about 9 to 10 minutes, they're going to take a 45-minute rest over here in this area where they'll finish to the left of me around all these people. And then they're going to be paraded down Main Street to the carnival grounds where the auction will happen. As I think I heard Lisa mention earlier, the very first foal to come across will be crowned King or Queen Neptune. And they're selling tickets here, and that one will be raffled off. So one lucky winner is going to go home with a pony. Now, the auction starts tomorrow morning. That starts at 8 o'clock. You're going to want to get there early so you can get a good spot and keep an eye on the ponies. And you don't need to register. So basically, if you raise your hand, you're bidding on a pony. And the auction is held for multiple reasons. One is to slim the herd of the ponies here in Chincoteague, as well as to raise money for the volunteer fire company. And it also goes towards veterinary care for the horses, who I believe are checked out about 3 times a year. So they're very well taken care of. And like I said, it just brings so many people here to this town, so it's a great economic impact for them. We'll check back in here. Like I said, the ponies are moving, so we should see them swimming. It sounds like they're making some announcements over the boat, so we should know more soon. We're going to go back up to Bill Mitch in Chopper 16.
Hey, Max, we're following along the horses as they make their way down this marshy area. Hopefully we can keep this signal. As we were talking about all these cell phone signals, it's tough to keep it in sometimes, but we're following them down. All the horses kind of are in formation. You can see the saltwater cowboys keeping them in formation there. You got some of them in front kind of leading them down towards the path where they're going to be eventually making the swim, and obviously saltwater cowboys on either side of the horses and behind them. Don't obviously want any of them getting away. And as we're zoomed in pretty tight, I know we're trying to stay in on those horses, and I'm just kind of tell you what I'm looking at. As you see the water just above the horses on the northern side of them, there's a shallow water area and then kind of a sandbar on the other side. The people have gotten out of their boats on the sandbar and made their way into those shallow water. It's probably a wonderful picture that they're getting to take. If you zoom out just a little bit, Phil, and pan up just a little bit, you'll be able to see some. There they are. The people have gotten out of their boats, taking some pictures of the horses. Obviously, they have a pretty cool spot prior to the swim. It might be a little bit tougher for them to see anything cool while they're swimming, but they have a great shot now. And some of the boats, the charter boats or personal boats, are actually following the horses along on the other side of that sandbar. Let's zoom back in so we can see some of those horses. So we obviously get you the best shot possible. Obviously up here in Chopper 16, it's tough to beat this, but from where we're looking, you can kind of see, I'm looking down to my right, and I can see Memorial Park. Obviously, you're taking a look at the horses, and we'll stay on this shot, but I can almost see people in Memorial Park kind of getting closer together. You can see people pulling out their cameras. There's a lot of excitement right now because we know we're getting closer to the swim. So we're going to stay on this shot and send it back to you guys, but obviously this is our best view for the rest of the morning. Guys?
Absolutely, Bill. As I've said this many a time, whether it's a rocket launch from Wallops or the pony swim, Bill Mitch always ends up with the best seat in the house.
He does. And you know, those ponies are very well cared for, even though they live in the wild. Dr. Drew Humphreys is one of their veterinarians and says safety is the #1 priority.
The stress is the biggest thing. I mean, we take them from an environment which they don't have really much interaction with humans until we get them all together, and then they're exposed to all the crowds, and then not only in being a more confined space with the rest of the herds. So it's just mainly stress.
And our live streaming and broadcast coverage of the 91st Annual Chincoteague Pony Swim is brought to you by your friends at the Preston Automotive Group. Now, we have some Facebook comments coming from people all over the country. It's pretty interesting to see, and I know some people are saying it's coming in and out. And we also have a YouTube link. If you want to go to that, it's a live link. And of course, it's on our Facebook page, so you can look there if you want to see that. And of course, we welcome all the people who are watching on WBOC Classics right now. You see the ponies, they are going into the water right now. What a wonderful sight coming from Chopper 16. This is live going on in Chincoteague.
Yeah, this is 91st Annual Pony Swim getting underway right now. And let's check back in with Bill Mitch. Again, this helicopter is pretty far away from our tower, so that signal is going to pop in and out. There's a live picture on the ground from the other side of the channel. From our satellite truck down there, and tens of thousands of people. You see, we got people in kayaks. What a great way to watch the pony swim from a kayak.
Yeah.
There we go. Chopper 16 back up, and we are now getting underway. This swim happening again at slack tide, where there is virtually no current, right between high tide and low tide, making it as easy as possible for these ponies. Should take them about 9-10 minutes to make this swim across the channel.
And I know there was some concern about weather, and some people talking about, you know, what do you do if it rains? If it rains, it's not a, you know, big deal. They're getting wet anyway, but of course there's always a threat of thunderstorms. And if that were the case, they would have to wait for the next slack tide. But fortunately, that is not the case. We have the ponies in the water right now. Let's head over to Bill Mitch. Bill, can you hear me?
You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, Chopper 16 and Bill
Wonderful.
Mitch.
Steve, as you mentioned a second ago, it's not my fault I always have the coolest views. They just kind of give me those things. But this view right now is pretty fantastic, as you mentioned. What we're watching is as they make their way through this marshy area, you can see a couple of the ponies try to stray away from the herd, and you see those saltwater cowboys catch up to them very quickly and kind of get them back in the herd. I've seen 1 or 2 ponies kind of skirt off to the left, and one little guy was going the wrong way. But the saltwater cowboys seem to kind of be keeping them in line down there. We're getting closer to where it appears to be hopping back up onto that sandbar and eventually making the swim. Obviously, as you can see, they're walking pretty well right now because that water appears to be pretty. But the herd right now, I know Phil's zooming in behind them in the shallow water. There's some people in kayaks trying to follow up the rear and kind of get a cool view. So there's really people doing anything and everything to try to get the best. Now the most.
All right, Bill, thanks. We'll check back with you in a second. We've got Maxine Bensel there on the ground. Hey, Maxine.
Hey, Steve, I am down here on the ground, and you're right. Bill Mitch does always get the best seat in the house, but we're having fun down here as well. Joining me now is Mr. Saltzvis. He helps out with the ponies every year. They're in the water now, so what do you think?
Yeah, they'll be coming swimming across here in about 4 minutes.
Okay. And
if you want to watch the pony swim, you have to be out here at 4 o'clock in the morning and get a best view, so you could get up in the front line.
That's right, and I've been out here since 4, so we are going to get a good view, and there's a lot of people out here. Tell me what you've been doing this week to help out with the ponies.
I was helping riding Monday morning, coming in from the walk along the beach walk, yes.
Okay, and how was that?
That was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was my first year I did that. That was a lot of fun.
What makes you come down here and help? You're not from the area. You just love the ponies?
Yeah, I just love the ponies. We like to come down and meet the friends down here and meet the cowboys.
It's a great group of guys, and they take great care of the ponies for this one-of-a-kind event. We're just waiting now. I can sort of see their little heads and their little ears popping up and moving across the water there from where I am. So they're definitely heading into the water. It's about 10:15, so right on time. Doesn't look like the water's moving, so everything should go off without a hitch here in just the next few minutes. As you can see now, I believe lots of boats still in the water on the kayaks. As Steve said, that's a great seat to be as well, and some jet skiers, and like we just heard, they have been out here for a long time, so they got to be very, very hot.
Hey, Maxine, can you see see the ponies?
I can see like the tops of their heads moving
Okay.
from where I am, but not much other than that. But we are starting to get some cheers here now, so I can start to see them. They are moving. Here they come.
Whoa, some of them a little more anxious.
Yep, here they
than
come. And there we go. They're in the water.
All right.
Yeah, they looked very anxious. They're probably hot.
Ready to swim, and
There
here we
they
go.
Yep, here they come. Okay.
Okay.
See, we got to be keeping an eye out for that first foal that comes across. Of course, that'll be crowned King or Queen Neptune. That'll be the winner. We still got a few.
Right, there we go. Nice shot there. We've got one from the boat. Again, this is from what we call a TVU camera. It's using cell phone signals to feed back this video. And as you can imagine, with tens of thousands of people down there on a lot of cell phones, so it's, but we'll look at that shot right there. And that's something that they make their way across.
Yeah. And it's not a very long swim, and you know, some people ask about the ponies and their well-being as they're making the swim, but they are constantly being monitored by veterinarians, so they are safe, and they look like they're enjoying it, actually.
I would think that they're ready to get ashore.
Yeah.
It's really hot, so it's probably nice to cool off.
Exactly.
Yeah, Maxine, you guys are baking down there, I imagine. Pretty hot.
Oh, we're baking. We're baking, all right. I can see, you know.
I'm sorry, Maxine. I was just saying, are the horse flies, are they bad today?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you very clearly. Are they what?
No, I was just asking about the horse flies. I know sometimes the people down there don't expect them.
The horse flies.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of horse flies, but definitely a lot of mosquitoes. They were actually worse this morning, and they seem to not be that bad right now. It's mostly just the heat that seems to be bothering everybody. But now that the ponies are in the water, everybody's forgotten about that. It's really great, actually, to see the looks on everybody's faces here and see how much they're enjoying it. I've seen it many, many times because I grew up vacationing here in Chincoteague. But this is the best view that I have ever had, so this is actually really cool for me as well to see it.
Right, and what?
And it looks like they're definitely all in the water now.
Yeah, and you can't see this, Maxine, but we have got this spectacular picture from a boat right alongside as these ponies are making their way across the channel. An unprecedented shot here, and
it's live.
Yeah, and it's.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Just about over these.
You can really hear them neighing and making some noise from where I am.
You can hear the
cheers.
cheers.
And it looks like they're about halfway through.
And you can hear the saltwater cowboys. They're out there doing their job from the boats.
Right. And at this point, you know, it's follow the leader.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. If you're not looking at your computer or your television right now, you need to be looking at this shot right here. This is live. This is going on in Chincoteague, the annual pony swim, the 91st annual pony swim. We've never had a shot like that before.
All right, they're getting close. The people over here are getting in position to help get them in here.
Right, so now you got to guide them to shore, where they will they'll take a rest for about 45 minutes, and then, Maxine, we've got the parade through downtown, correct?
That's right. Then they'll parade down Main Street and be taken to the carnival grounds for the auction tomorrow morning. People starting to clap and cheer. I don't know if you can hear it at all here.
Right.
Getting really excited because this is about as close as they're going to get to the ponies while they're here. I mean,
right. They got to
they
grab.
are right up on land here.
They got to grab the king and
The
queen
king and
of,
the queen.
of Neptune.
Yep. Oh, they're beautiful.
Aren't they, though?
I have never seen them this close. There we go.
And love hearing those saltwater cowboys in the background.
Yeah.
And as Steve said, they are going to rest for about 45 minutes before they do that parade. And then, of course, the auction is tomorrow where the ponies are bid on. That's a huge event for the fire department, as we've mentioned.
Right, big money maker. Total sales, 169,000 in sales last year. The highest bid, a record set last year, $25,000 for a pony.
And I want to remind you, our live streaming and broadcast coverage of the 91st Annual Chincoteague Pony Swim is brought to you by your friends at the Preston Automotive Group. And that's a beautiful shot there. Everyone have their cameras and their cell phones in the air trying to get a shot of these ponies. Absolutely beautiful. And I talked to Terry a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about another thing that is wonderful to see is the look on the children's faces, especially when they bring the ponies in for auction. As they're walking down, they have a little path that they walk down before their auction. He says, you just look at the kids' faces and they get so excited. A lot of them saving up their money for years to bid on a pony.
Absolutely.
For those of you who are on our Facebook
me?
page, we've got a YouTube link. Yes, Bill Mitch, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Steve. I know we were losing signal. We didn't get to talk a whole lot during the swim, but what an unbelievable view. It appears from my vantage point, the last pony has just come ashore. You can see some of the saltwater cowboys from where we are, just trying to make sure they're all up on the shore there. It appears they're all up on there. You can see the hundreds of people down where Maxine is taking their pictures out. I can see the flash bulbs on some of the cameras from up here in Chopper 16.
Yeah, Bill, thank you. Again, Chincoteague's a long way from our tower, and that helicopter shot can sometimes slip in and out as we work to get that back. There's a shot from the ground from our satellite truck there.
But think about how far we've come since you and I first started covering this years ago.
Right.
We never could get it live, and now we're to a point where we can do it live on the internet.
Yeah, this is an historic first for WBOC, and boy, what a neat shot! And look at all of those people jammed up against that fence, trying to get a glimpse. They have waited for hours in the hot sun, and yep, as Maxine mentioned, there have been mosquitoes, and it is a long morning for people that are that get out there to Chincoteague. We heard from the gentleman from Waldorf, Maryland. They stayed in Selbyville last night. They got up at 5 a.m. and made the trip down to Chincoteague from there. And
Can they hear me?
This is why, for this moment, and the fun continues.
So we just got a question from a viewer. I'm sorry, Steve, if I cut you off there.
That's okay. It's all good.
It sounds like we just got a question from a viewer on YouTube asking if the horses looked panicked, and from what I can see, they don't. They look happy to be out of the water, but I can see some with some grass in their mouth right now, so they look a little hungry. It looks like they're all grazing and having a little snack.
I saw a lot of perked up ears.
Thank you, Christine Watson, for that question. Yes, there's a lot of perked up ears. They look just fine, and it looks like they all made it across safely in about 10 minutes. And the people are really starting to disperse now, so they've seen what they need to see, and they're ready to get out of the heat and probably go in the air conditioning for the day. I don't blame them.
Or to get their spot in town along the path as we have the parade. That'll happen.
That's right, for the parade down Main Street.
In about 40 minutes, so that may be part of what's going on. So then we have the parade.
I don't know if you can see them. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry if I keep cutting you off.
No worries. I know we're dealing with a delay. It's all good.
Taylor, can you get on that little one that's running around there, the little foal? I mean, they're whipping their tails around. They're eating. They seem very happy. And of course, like we've said, this they'll all be auctioned off tomorrow. Last year's, I think, 61 ponies were sold, so not all of them will be auctioned off, but that's why this entire swim happens, is for the auction to raise money for the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company.
And you know, this event is obviously unlike anything else you've ever seen. And really, the way we're watching it today is like anything else we've ever seen.
All right, saltwater cowboy Alex Tucker tells us it's no easy task to get these 150 ponies to start swimming and to keep swimming.
It's different all in entirety. People herd animals all over the world, but trying to herd something into the water that doesn't want to be there is a whole nother ball game. I mean, there's so many safety issues that, you know, we have to keep an eye on. That's why we keep our vet wherever he went to. We keep him on hand whenever we're doing anything over here.
And that, of course, a long-time saltwater cowboy. And by the way, the saltwater cowboys they come from all over Delmarva. They're not just from the Chincoteague area, and they volunteer year after year to be part of this historic event. And they do a great job. I mean, really, if you think about it, herding up all of those ponies, getting them to the water. I mean, they're not necessarily, you know, want to go into the water, but they do. And I think they like the cool water. And then coming up on shore to this big crowd, they're not used to that, obviously. They're used to grazing out on the island. So good job.
Oh, yeah.
Hats off to the saltwater
Absolutely.
cowboys.
And what a fun job. I'd love to do that.
I
think, you know, you put your GoPro on, you know, maybe in 5 or 10 years we'll be streaming from our GoPro and
that would be good.
I would love to do that.
I would like to see that as well. We've come along so far to this point, so why not?
The pony swim aspect is complete, as we've said. The parade will get started in probably about 40 minutes. And then we have the auction tomorrow. Among the reasons why we do all this is they control the herd, keeping it at about 150 ponies on Chincoteague, and they have to thin the herd. And again, it's to also raise money for the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company. How these ponies got here, the theory is that there was a Spanish galleon that went down off the coast of Chincoteague in 1750, and that ship was carrying some of these ponies, and that they managed to swim to shore and to survive and thrive. You know, the conditions on Chincoteague are not very good. There's not a lot of food, and these horses have adapted and for that long, since 1750, have done very well on Chincoteague.
They sure have. They sure have. And of course, our teams are going to stay there in Chincoteague. We've got the parade going on later on today, so we're going to have full coverage on WBOC News, our broadcast this evening as well.
Thanks for joining us for this historic event, streaming on WBOC's Facebook page, and also for watching on WBOC Classics. We'll have much more of the pony swim and the events surrounding it coming up later on today.